Memphis-based rapper Young Dolph is in the news today for all the wrong reasons. In fact, the worst possible ones. He was tragically gunned down and killed on the afternoon of November 17th outside of a local Memphis bakery. At this point, there has been no suspect named, and police are still working to figure out a possible motivation for the killing. Dolph first emerged into the mainstream as an exciting new voice in the Memphis rap scene about 5 years ago with his debut studio album, King of Memphis. Since then, he released a further 7 albums while guiding a talented roster of young rappers signed to his paper route empire. It was a remarkable turnaround for a young man whose parents had to give him up as an infant and ship him off to his grandmother's due to their substance abuse issues. Today, we're going to reflect on his story and try to understand how we wound up here, mourning the loss of one of hip-hop's most talented acts, Young Dolph. Young Dolph was born Adolph Thornton Jr. on July 27, 1985 in Chicago, Illinois. Born to parents addicted to crack, Dolph was shipped off with his brothers to live with his grandmother in Memphis at only 2 years old. As the oldest of his brothers, all Dolph ever wanted to do was provide for his family. Growing up in Memphis, he only saw one potential way to do so. In 2018, he told The Guardian, "You've been seeing it for so long that you start to partake in it." On the streets of Memphis, there were 2 primary hoods, Magnolia and Castalia. Dolph grew up in the Magnolia area, and even back then, Castalia kids would swing by the rival school looking to stir up trouble. Every adult told Dolph and his friends to ignore the other kids, but that was far easier said than done. He continued to tell The Guardian, "Of course, everyone's grandma and parents were like, don't walk up past that corner, but we wanted to go past where the action is. We were in 4th, 5th, and 6th grades, seeing this living hell." When Dolph was just 9 years old, he watched from his grandmother's window as a man was killed in a drive-by shooting right outside his own home. It was a memory that Dolph would later turn into a hard-hitting lyric to his single Preach, a track that would usher in his rap career and allow him to start charging more than $20,000 per gig. After developing his passion for music throughout his teenage years, Young Dolph determined that a career in hip-hop was his best way out of the streets of Memphis. Around 2008, shortly after graduating high school, he began releasing a series of mixtapes of he and his friends freestyling with one another. Back then, he dropped these tapes under his own Paper Route Empire label, and over the course of his career, he had eventually funneled over $3 million into both his career and label. By 2014, Dolph was steadily picking up steam while still relegated to nightclubs in smaller cities like Pensacola, Florida, where he could earn as much as $72,000 a week performing. Then, in 2016, he finally made his Billboard 200 debut thanks to his studio album King of Memphis. From that point forward, 11 different projects of his would wind up on those same charts, with 3 of them breaking into the top 10, including 2 collaboration albums with Key Glock, Dumb and Dumber, and Dumb and Dumber 2, both of which peaked at the 8th spot. His final solo album, Rich Slave, would be his 3rd album that climbed all the way to the number 4 spot. Sure, last year there was a bit of confusion when it seemed like Dolph was ready to call it quits and hang up the microphone for good to focus on his family as well as his stable of talented young artists at Paper Route Empire. But thankfully his son did talk him out of it. "My son just told me I can't be his dad if I stop putting out music." I mean, I'm not sure if there's anybody who could reject an ultimatum like that, so Young Dolph returned, delivering us some seminal works like the aforementioned Dumb and Dumber 2, Rich Slave, and singles like Sunshine. Those last few projects were recorded during the pandemic, and Dolph told GQ that the best part about the year was getting to spend all that extra time with his kids. He told them, "We watching movies, we having toy gunfights, we on the trampoline, we doing everything. We playing. I'm in their world right now." For what would wind up becoming the last year of his life, I doubt that Dolph would have rather spent it any other way. But before we get into the tragic events of his passing, first a little bit more context. Before losing his life in November of 2021, Young Dolph had been targeted twice in the past. Both events occurred in 2017, and many have speculated that allegedly the rapper Yo Gotti was involved. Gotti is a veteran rapper from the same city as Dolph, so it seems like these two should have something in common and maybe even share some love for one another, but that just simply is not the case.
Text message showing y'all this from all this back and forth for a year and a half, 2 years of, "Oh man, we need to sign Dolph." I said, "No, I'm straight."
Apparently, Dolph once shut down Gotti when Gotti came looking to sign the up-and-coming rapper to his label, CMG. Dolph refused because he didn't believe Gotti would invest the type of capital into his career that Dolph himself was willing to. But what started off as a slight diss somehow snowballed into something much more. In February of 2017, Dolph dropped the diss track, Play With Yo Bitch, where he taunted Gotti over the failed deal. A few weeks later, Dolph's SUV was targeted by shooters in Charlotte, North Carolina. The car was absolutely riddled with bullets, but thankfully no one was hurt. Not wanting a killer story to pass him by, Dolph worked what happened into his new album called Bulletproof and recorded that sucker in just 3 days, creating artwork that showed himself standing on a lot littered with shell casings. And if I do say so myself, this is one of the hardest album covers ever. The project also features the song 100 Shots, in which Dolph taunts Gotti with the line, "How the f you miss a whole 100 shots?" The answer to that question would apparently be because Dolph had the foresight to custom build his SUV with bulletproof material for around $300,000. A short time later, CMG artist Black Youngsta turned himself in as a person of interest in the case, but refusing to admit having done the deed, saying, "I ain't fire nothing, I ain't seen nothing, I ain't do nothing." He was released shortly after, then about 4 months later, Dolph was attacked once again outside the Loews Hollywood Hotel in Los Angeles, and this time unfortunately the bullets would find their mark. He was shot 3 times, twice in the leg and once in the arm, but managed to stumble into a shoe shop to call for help. He said at the time, "I saw so much blood coming out, and I sat up against the wall. I really was paranoid because I didn't know if I was dehydrated or whatnot from drinking lean." At the time of the attack, Gotti's entourage was also staying at the same hotel. A friend of his, Corey McClendon, was later arrested for the attack on Dolph, but released the next day with no charges filed. As for Dolph, he was sent off to the hospital where he would spend the next few weeks recuperating from his extensive injuries, even filming parts of his music video for Believe Me while he was still an inpatient. When asked by The Guardian why people wanted him dead, Dolph replied, "You gotta ask them. But I ain't a person that lives in fear. You got some people who really worry about that kind of shit. I don't." On November 17th, 2021, in the early stages of the afternoon, Young Dolph was visiting a local Memphis bakery that only a few days prior he had called his favorite in the entire city.
Get some what?
All I came for to get some Makita.
Makita cook. Get the sign.
Come back around here.
Go back around there.
These right here.
What you got? Chocolate chip. Don't hide.
Straight out the hood.
Just for you. Appreciate you, buddy. Be safe.
That clip was from 7 days before his untimely passing. Maurice Hill, the owner of the shop where the altercation took place, Makeda's Butter Cookies, told media outlets that Dolph simply walked into his store to buy some cookies around 1 p.m. That's when at least 2 people drove up, exited their vehicles, pulled out weapons, and shot Dolph to death. When police arrived at the scene, Dolph's Ferrari was still parked outside and there were bullet casings everywhere. Suspects have yet to be named, but police have released footage of the shooters who were wearing masks at the time of the attack. As news broke out about what happened online, people from all over flocked to the scene of the crime to see what had happened for themselves. Tensions flared and raw emotion was everywhere. At times, chaos broke out, especially when a car with another man who had apparently been shot drove into the crime scene. This person was soon taken away by paramedics. Unfortunately, Young Dolph did not survive from his extensive injuries, and he passed away at the age of only 36 and leaves behind a son and a daughter. We here at Before They Were Famous send our well wishes and prayers out to Young Dolph's family, especially his 2 children. God only knows how difficult these times must be for them right now. You know, as far as my relationship with Young Dolph's music, I was a listener, but I think the thing that always stood out to me about Young Dolph was that he was truly a man of the people and strong morals. I really need to share this clip because I think it so well encapsulates the man that Young Dolph was.
They fired 2 workers from a coffee shop for bumping my shit in the store. Until y'all get y'all a new job, till y'all find y'all a new job, I got $20,000 for y'all right now.
Yeah, man, this one really hurt. At least for me, I know how much of a man of the culture and the people that Young Dolph was, and it just sucks keep seeing these young men, these young black men, these men of any age dying so early. I think black men deserve to live long, you know? That's kind of what's been on my mind since this news broke, not to go too far off script. So as far as further revelations are concerned, we'll stay tuned because I'm sure we'll have more as this story develops. In the meantime, rest in power, Young Dolph. You will forever be missed.